Hello everybody, welcome to Ancient Insights. Gabriel here. In this quick video here for you, I came across a report by the Canadian National Post of 11 January 2001 claiming that the Garden of Eden has been found or located. Michael Sanders, who is the Director of Expedition for the Ministries of Bible Research Foundation, California, said he found the site after the careful study of satellite photographs taken by NASA. According to him, the Garden of Eden is in eastern Turkey because the Tigris and Euphrates rise in the mountains there. He identified 4 rivers in this region and ultimately linked them with the rivers described in Genesis. The rivers are the Murate River, the Tigris, the Euphrates, and the northern fork of the Euphrates. This, he says, proves that the Bible's description of the Garden of Eden is completely and literally accurate. What should we make of such claims? Many Christians will be encouraged by this report. But should we embrace this claim wholeheartedly since it appears to support the Bible? First, the Bible tells us to test everything and hold onto the good. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21. The apostles commended the Bereans because they tested what they heard against the scriptures. Acts chapter 17, verse 11. It therefore behoves on everyone to check such claims critically. Eden is described in Genesis chapter 2, verse 10 to 14, which states, "A river watering the garden flowed from Eden. From there it was separated into 4 headwaters. The name of the first is the Pishon. It winds through the entire land of Havilah, where there is gold. The gold of that land is good. Bdellium and onyx are also there. The name of the second river is the Gihon. It winds through the entire land of Cush. And the name of the third river is the Tigris. It runs along the east side of Ashur. And the fourth river is the Euphrates." Biblical scholars have debated the exact location and even the existence of Eden for centuries. Because the Tigris and Euphrates rivers are clearly named in Genesis, the location of the Garden of Eden has been thought to be in the Middle East. Some have suggested Babylonian in Mesopotamia, and others Armenia, north of Mesopotamia. However, the other 2 rivers named, the Pishon and Gihon, are hard to identify. Some have speculated that the Gihon may have been in Mesopotamia because Genesis chapter 2 verse 13 says it winds through the entire land of Cush. Others think the Pishon and Gihon represent the Indus and the Nile, and that Eden included the whole of the Fertile Crescent from India to Egypt. More recently though, some scholars have claimed that the Garden of Eden was situated at the head of the Persian Gulf, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers run into the sea, but they believe the site is now submerged. Archaeologist Juris Zarins researched this area using information from many different sources, including Landsat images from space. Under this theory, the Bible's Gihon River would correspond with the Karun River in Iran, and the Pishon River would correspond to the Wadi Batian river system that once drained the central part of the Arabian Peninsula. According to Calvin Schlabach, an enthusiast for this theory, the importance of the discovery is in the confirmation of the accuracy, historicity, and literal veracity of the Bible. So, we are faced with 2 competing sites for the Garden of Eden. One is the mountains of eastern Turkey, and the other submerged beneath the waters of the Persian Gulf. If you believe the Garden of Eden has been located, let me know which of these or any other site that may best suit the actual Garden of Eden in your view. However, these contrasting sites are said to confirm the Bible. So what should we now believe? Dr. Tas Walker believes neither of these sites should be considered as a location of Eden. According to him, it is clear that neither site corresponds with the biblical Garden of Eden. Each site only matches some of the details, and these are only superficial. Both sides conflict with other important information from the Bible. He went further to state, the answer is obvious. Once we understand that the Bible describes a global cataclysm, which is known as Ark, which destroyed the entire world, including the Garden of Eden. Everything that existed before the flood was deluged and destroyed. 2 Peter chapter 3 from verse 5 and 6. The flood waters covered the highest mountains of the day. Genesis chapter 7 from verse 19 to 20. The evidence of this cataclysm is seen in the billions of fossils buried in sedimentary rock layers deposited from waters all over the earth. This evidence is apparent in the rocks in Turkey and the Middle East, where large areas of fossil-filled sedimentary rock covered the land. It is obvious that the present Tigris and Euphrates rivers formed after the flood and on top of sediment laid down by the flood. Thus, the Garden of Eden cannot be located in the Middle East, either in Turkey or the Persian Gulf, on top of rocks laid down by the flood. Do the Tigris and Euphrates rivers prove that the Garden of Eden was located in the Middle East? Let me know in comment section. But if the location was to be based on simple geographical names that match, then the delightful seaside town of Eden, 400 kilometers south of Sydney in Australia, should be a better match. Yet, it is clear that this town cannot be the biblical Garden of Eden. Obviously, the original settlers thought Eden would be a nice name for their town. In the same way, the present-day Tigris and Euphrates rivers have nothing to do with the rivers described in Genesis chapter 2, except for their names. Likewise, many cities around the world were named after other prominent areas. For example, the city of Newcastle in Australia was named after the city in England. Also, North America has English place names such as London, Oxford, and Cambridge. It is perfectly understandable that some rivers in the post-flood world, like the Tigris and Euphrates, were given the same names as rivers described in a pre-flood world. Also notable is the fact that the Bible speaks of one river splitting into four, only two of which are called the Tigris and Euphrates. This is not found in either of the sites proposed in the Middle East today. So, what should we make of the latest claim that the Garden of Eden has been found, bearing in mind that the researchers did not account for all the Bible's facts, especially the effect of Noah's flood? Let me know in comment section. For more interesting biblical archaeology videos, please check the playlist here. Please support my work by liking this video, share with friends on social media. Don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications so you'll be the first to know when we post new updates. Thank you very much for watching.